Welcome back to Prayaana Future Talks. I'm your host Charvi, and I'll start with a small introduction to Prayaana. Prayaana is a unique employability, entrepreneurship, and innovation ecosystem for women. Prayaana Labs gives wholesome career support services right from career counseling, training, mentoring, and recruitment services under one umbrella. So, if you're a girl out there in graduation or post graduation learning to enhance your skills, this is the place for you. If you like what you see, you can join us by registering at www.prayaana.in or by downloading the Prayaana app. We also have Prayaana Collective. It is India's first e-commerce platform that is dedicated to the empowerment of women. The platform is uniquely designed with an attractive affiliate marketing model where all customers are given an opportunity for lifetime savings and earnings. For the audience, you can post your queries at the live chat in our YouTube channel. The queries will be shared to the guests and answered live. Today's topic is Tectonic Shifts, Rewriting the DNA of HR Function by Dr. Puja Sareen, a corporate trainer, academician, researcher. She is presently working in Amity Business School, Amity University, Noida, as head of training and consultancy and deputy head of department of HR. She is an associate professor in the area of OB and HR. She has 20 years of industry and academic experience and is experienced in various HR processes like shared services, training and development, talent management, and employee engagement. She is a thorough professional with a proactive attitude and a creative bent of mind. She is certified by ISCA as a master trainer. She has successfully conducted various HR leadership, business communication, emotional intelligence, and soft skill training programs in several PSUs and multinational organizations. She has been a trainer for Tata Motors Training Program, Indian Army Professional, ONGC CSR Program, Election Commission of India, Department of Service and Technology, Employee State Insurance, Oriental Chemicals and Carbon Limited, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Innovative Technologies, among many others. She is certified in developing psychometric assessments and tools. She is also a passionate researcher and has 50 publications to her credit, including research papers in Scopus Index journals. Her business case studies are published in Case Centers UK. She has shared technical skills in various international conferences. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Charvi, for such a lovely introduction. A very pleasant evening to the August viewers of this live webinar. Charvi, am I audible?
Audible. You're audible.
Okay. Okay, Charvi. Once again, a very thanks for a very lovely introduction and a very pleasant evening to all the August viewers of this live webinar. At the outset, I would like to thank Prayaana Labs for inviting me to share my thoughts and experiences on the theme Tectonic Shifts, Rewriting the DNA of HR Function. The theme is quite apt and relevant for all of us, whether we have our own businesses, whether we are working in organizations in the area of HR, all those who are leading teams across various functional areas, all those who are academicians, researchers, and students pursuing higher education in the area of management. Now, before I begin the session, I would request all the viewers to please think of the business scenario that was there 10 years ago, the situation that is now, and how the organizations of future shall be. I'm sure most of us visualized how dramatically and exponentially we have witnessed change in the last few years. None of us could have conceived the pace of change and how it has transformed our lives today. It also won't be wrong to say that today's time is one of the most transformational times in the human history. If we imagine change as squared, we need to engage more with what might be rather than not with what is right now. Now, Winston Churchill long back so meaningfully said, to improve is to change, but to be perfect is to change often. I'm sure we can't change the direction of the wind, but what we can surely do is to adjust our sails so as to reach our destination. And in today's time, technology is the direction of the wind. For each of us to survive and thrive, actually, whether as individuals or as organizations, we will have to adapt our lives to the technological changes, but at the same time, focus on more critical aspects that we'll be discussing in the session today. Because at the end of it, the future lies in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Now, in the next 45 minutes, I'll walk you through the rapidly changing times we all find ourselves in today, the journey of transformation of the human resource function of an organization, and how technology has been a key enabler in this journey throughout. Now, to begin with, I'll share my screen and let's have a quick walk through the current business scenario. I'm just about to share my screen. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to all. Okay, now as the theme goes, tectonic shifts, rewriting the DNA of HR. That is, we will be discussing how the technology shifts that are taking place in the business environment, how are they impacting the human resource function? How are they redefining the very DNA of the HR function of any organization given today? Now let's see how it is going about. I'll take you through the business journey, the scenario of business organizations today. Now, we all would agree that business as usual is no longer, that was considered as good enough, is no longer the present scenario. What was good in the earlier times no longer holds true in today's time. Now, where we stand today, it would be apt to say that good enough is dead. Now, in a world where everything is connected, where everything is wired, which earlier used to be dumb and disconnected, where performance is reaching excellence, it has been very nicely quoted that keep chasing perfection, because when you chase perfection, in that you might surely catch up excellence. And where we all are now, we are already at a level where performance is reaching excellence in organizations. Now, in this scenario, there is only one space that is left to innovate. And this space, yes, you guessed it right. This space is the space for you, space for me, the space for the human resources to innovate. That is the requirement of the day. Now, we all are witnessing a tornado of change, and this tornado of change is fueled by digitization, automation, augmentation, among other plethora of factors. Now, in this storm of changes that we are witnessing, it is definitely going to change the way we are going to work in future. The skills that we will need tomorrow will be dramatically different for all of us as compared to the skills and competencies that we possess today. So what becomes important is that anything that cannot be automated or anything that cannot be digitized will become extremely valuable in the times to come. And we'll discuss that how in this session. So what cannot be automated and what will become extremely valuable? One aspect is the human traits for sure. The human traits like creativity, integrity, intuition, imagination, ethics, much more beyond that. The human traits which include emotions, which include innovation, so on and so forth. They will become all the more important for organizations to succeed in the current era. Now, very importantly, technology represents the why of change. And at the same time, humans represent the why of change. Now, the why of change is more important than the how of change. We all know that. Future is definitely about business models which follow a holistic approach. and very rightly pointed out that the future doesn't just happen, it gets happened. Now, technology is definitely going to stay and technology will be there. Now, what is important is that we embrace technology, but we don't become it. As I said earlier, that technology is here to stay. We have to acquaint ourselves with technology, and the future lies in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. So we need to see in the current scenario that are you and me being driven by change, or are we driving the change importantly? Now, what's going to make us successful, what's going to make us competitive in today's time is that when we are in the category 2, when we drive the change and we are not driven by change. Now, with this business scenario that I just discussed, I think our thinking caps are on and it's time to ponder and it's time to confront some very important questions that might be coming to each one of us. Now, the very first question that we face in this changing times is, how will we discover opportunities in this transformational time? Now, to address this question, we all are on the same page, when we witness these transforming times. Excellence is surely the need of the hour in these times, and we are all facing a storm of changes around us. And the current pandemic situation is a very apt example of this change, a change which is fueled by augmentation, a change which is fueled by the mobilization, dematerialization, a change fueled by technology in all aspects. Now, the way we worked is definitely going to change drastically in times to come. The competencies required are going to change. This change is going to be exponential, and the disruption is going to be the new normal. This is for sure. Now, as I said earlier, technology is here to stay. Now, how will we discover opportunities in this transformational time where technology has a main role to play? The answer lies within you and me. The answer lies within our own selves. Like I said in the previous slide, the only space that is left to innovate is the space for you and me. The space for the human resources of any organization, any nation, the space for the human resources of the world at large. We, the human resources, need to strive excellence at all points of time today. And in this transforming times, the earlier words which were apt, that it is the survival of the fittest, no longer stand today. It would be apt to say that it is the survival of the quickest in today's time. And we all need to immerse ourselves totally into the future. Now, the second most important question that we all are faced with is, what kind of business models will thrive in future? Now, surely the business models which follow a very holistic approach, the business models which perform just in time and not just in case, and most importantly, the business models which focus on the ecosystems in totality. Now, every business is managed by technology, by and large. But for business to create value, it has to create an experience architecture that delivers personalized and intelligent customer and employee experiences, simplified management processes, and above all, security across diverse technologies and flexibilities to adapt in the ever-changing, rapidly changing business needs. In the current pandemic situation, we all have seen, how businesses, they have dived, they have survived, and some of them have thrived. We've seen surely, those businesses which are into essentials like groceries, medicines, medical equipments, and say, yes, of course, definitely the e-commerce businesses, and not to forget the streaming services and social media platforms. These businesses have actually thrived in this pandemic situation. And they have not only thrived, but in fact, they have stood out to gain in the longer run. And we've also seen various businesses around us, which have dived, which could not stand the test of time, and the business organizations had to actually close down. Now, to share the McKinsey report with all the viewers on, which businesses will survive and which businesses will thrive in this current era, the report says, the business organizations must rebuild their operations. They must rethink and they must surely invest in their human resources, at the same time accelerating the adoption of the technology, digital solutions in their organizations. Now, the next question that we all are faced with is, where should our focus lie in the VUCA world, which is again very important. Now, VUCA world, as we all know, is a world which is volatile, which is uncertain, which is complex, and which is ambiguous. Now, given these characteristics of the world that we are living in a world where everything is technology driven, in a world, where our focus should be on things which cannot be digitized in the long run, we know that machines are good at simulating, but humans are good at being. Not to forget that. Therefore, organizations should surely focus on the people capability, on the human resource traits that I just discussed in my previous slides, the traits of imagination, creativity, thinking, innovation, the emotional aspects of human behavior. These traits are the traits which will become all the more important. So rightly said, the future will not just happen, it gets happened, and we need to be prepared for this future. Now, we are living in a VUCA world, surely, and it's a challenge. To survive, on one hand, we must become acquainted with the technology that is happening, but at the same time, it is very important that we all be very flexible and open to the disruptions that are taking place and to everything that is different, everything that is not same. We need to embrace it with open hands. We should also focus on leveraging human development as the center of the business, thereby creating valuable connections to the many levels we move in over a period of time. So these are the main questions, main challenges, which we all face, be it as individuals or as organizations, which need to be addressed in today's time, which are changing exponentially and dramatically. Now let's see, how the world has changed, and so rightly said by the Canadian Prime Minister. The pace of change has never been this fast, and yet it will never be this slow again. So true, in today's context, given the turbulent times, HR has a very crucial role to play in every organization for it to be a competitive advantage. It was Henry Ford's vision long time back when he realized that people are the only source of competitive advantage that any organization has. And so true were his words long back when he said, "You can take up my factories, burn up my buildings, but yes, give me back my people and I'll build the business right back again." True HR perspective that Henry Ford had long back. Now we've discussed till now, how the business scenario is changing and how pandemic is affecting all of us and what are the challenges that we face and where is the scope for improvement. We come to the conclusion that it is human resources which are and which will become all the more important in the times to come. Technology is, yes, here to stay, but yes, the focus on human resources, developing the people capability will definitely be a source of competitive advantage for any organization to succeed. Now, in the next 30 minutes or so, I will be discussing the various implications that this transformational world has for us from the point of view of human resources. Now, we need to discuss it in two aspects. First, how is the HR function, that is the human resource leaders in an organization, going to embed the digital transformation or any kind of technological change into their systems and processes? Secondly, we are going to discuss how is HR function going to be a leader to drive the digital transformation across organization. So in the first aspect, we'll be discussing how HR integrates technology into its own processes. And secondly, how it takes on the leadership role to bring about any kind of change, any kind of transformation across the organization very smoothly and very effectively. Now let's start by discussing the first implication. Let's see how HR, embeds the digital transformation in its own function. Now, when we talk about the role of HR, very simply and very briefly, it can be summarized as H2R, where it says everything, every function, every activity in an employee's life cycle between hire to retire, that is H2R, is covered by the HR of an organization. Now, be it recruitment, be it selection, be it training, development, learning, onboarding activities, be it the daily activities, employee engagement, morale, motivation, compensation, the appraisals, and finally till separation, every gamut of activity is included in the purview of the HR function of an organization. Now, each of these activities becomes very important for every HR. Now, for example, let's take an example, how a company, starts its recruitment or portrays its recruitment. It actually sets the tone as to how the prospective candidates will form impressions about the company at large. It impacts the brand of the company at large. Another example, the psychological contract of the employees is actually built and developed, how based on the actions and statements between the two parties, that is the management and the employees on a day-to-day basis. And they develop their psychological contract, and it is very crucial, in a very crucial factor in deciding the attrition and the turnover rates of your organization. So, not to mention that each and every process of HR is extremely important for any organization to succeed, and it is very, very crucial in not only attracting but retaining the right talent in the organization. Now we've seen what all activities are a part of the HR function. Now I am sure all my corporate friends, all those who are working in organizations in the area of HR specifically would agree with me that how, over the years, the HR function has undergone a transformational change. How the function which earlier was viewed as a cost center is now strategically being viewed as a business center for any organization. Now, HR is definitely increasingly laying down the strategic goals of the organization so as to align with the business strategy. Its impact on the bottom line is all about the matrices, which are facilitated by technology today. And HR as a business center is not only able to measure the activities today, it is also able to tell the organizations what are the cost savings and what are the benefits that it brings to the table. And HR strategy today involves, thinking ahead. It involves thinking ahead to the future and working hand in hand with the corporate strategy. Now, this is so because, organizations over a period of time, they've realized that a well developed, a well satisfied, a well motivated employee is a profitable employee. So realizing that it's all about people, realizing that it is worth to invest in people as a strategic resource, people who can make a difference in your resource. Technology can be bought, all other assets, all other resources can be bought, people can be developed. The only resource, a unique, which can actually create a unique capability for any organization. Now, acknowledging HR's transformation and influence in a company's bottom line makes it work hand in hand with the business functions, makes it work hand in hand with the corporate strategy of any organization today. Now, let's also try to understand, what CEOs actually want from HR. What are, their expectations from the human resource leaders of any organization? Now, before I move on to it, all my corporate friends, specifically again the HR professionals, would surely agree with me, to gain a seat in the corporate boardroom, the expectations of the CEOs have been rising. very steadily. And given these expectations and combined coupled with the business environment that we all find ourselves today in, an environment which is disrupted, which is globalized, which is full of uncertainties, which is very complex, very ambiguous, where intensified competition is what you face at every point of time. Given this business environment, the companies are under increasing pressure to increase value for the customers, because customers will not buy your product only for the price or only for the features. They will buy your products for the transformative value that you offer to them in totality. So organizations are also under immense pressure. They have to be very fast, they have to be very responsive to the business environment, they have to be extremely cost effective, they have to create an environment that is conducive for profitability. A unique competitive advantage has to be created by organizations in case they have to survive in future. Now, given this kind of a business environment and pressures that organizations have, surely some amount of stress, some amount of pressure is definitely going to pass on to the HR leaders, is going to pass on to the HR departments. And now HR departments are expected to be not only business savvy, they're not expected only to know the business in all ways. They are expected to align their HR strategies with the strategies of the business. They are required not only to act as a change agent in any organization, as a catalyst for change in any organization, but they are required to be employee champions in all aspects. They are required to work hand in hand with the business leaders to achieve the business objectives. This is what gives them a seat in the boardroom today. This is what makes HR strategic truly in today's time. And this is what are the expectations from any CEOs, from the HR leaders of today. Now, how technology helps to meet these HR expectations is what we are going to discuss in next couple of minutes. Now, technology definitely it has a key role to play. It is a sure shot enabler for HR to function well, to function effectively, and to meet the expectations of various stakeholders. Now, before we move further, let's also see how technology has actually changed the work of HR from a transactional perspective to the transformational perspective. Now, the transactional activities we all know of HR include benefit administration, recruitment, onboarding, record keeping, salary, so on and so forth. Now, since all these activities are being taken care of by technology in today's time, because we all know most of the organizations are already using various ERP platforms for their HR activities. There are so many ERP platforms available. PeopleSoft HR is there, Oracle HRMS is there, then SAP HR is there, and more recently cloud-based solutions like Workday HR. They are all available for streamlining and benchmarking the HR practices. So HR leaders can now divert their focus, their time, and their energy, and move from transactional perspective to transformational agenda very smoothly and effectively. It can HR strategies now are designed in a way which complement your business strategies, which help to achieve the business goals, design the workforce infrastructure, but more importantly, which build a talented and an engaged workforce for any organization. Now, here technology has been a key enabler in facilitating this role, and as the HR function continues to evolve, the opportunities which are facilitated by technology are endless, seamless. Now, very beautifully, the EHRM, the concept of today, electronic HRM, which we say, it is helping HR to take steps forward in the direction of it becoming strategic HRM. Now, EHRM very beautifully integrates people, processes, and technology in one framework. It integrates these three to bring about the maximum effectiveness and efficiency for any business organization in today's world. Now, we have a lot of examples of how organizations are using HR technologies as enablers and creating awesome and exceptional employee experiences right from the time they are joining the organizations till the time they are separating with the organizations. But before I move towards this, I would first want to discuss what kind of workforce we are faced today with. Now, most of the organizations today, their major workforce is a millennial workforce. Now, the HR definitely faces a huge challenge to manage this millennial workforce. Now, the millennials, as we all know, is the most entitled generation. We all know, remember back our times when we were awarded only when we stood first in the class or say first in a school race. But millennials, as we all know, being an entitled generation, is the generation which has been rewarded not only for coming first, second, or third in a school race, but yes, even for participating in it. And this is the way they have been schooled, this is the way they have been pampered by their parents. Yes, this is Generation Y. This is the generation that is wired, generation that is connected, the generation which prefers a greater use of social media and digital technology, a generation that demands a very flexible work environment. They are tech savvy, but also tech addicted, which means that HR leaders have to leverage technology, but at the same time, they need to understand that the millennials' love for technology also means that they shall be distracted very easily. Therefore, the challenge is to keep them engaged. The challenge is to keep them motivated, interested at all points of time. Provide them with a very conducive work environment. Give them challenges, and that helps to bring the best out in them. That helps to bring the best in the way that they innovate. They realize their maximum potential and they contribute to the organizational goals. So the challenge is immense. Now, in this challenge, how organizations can use technology as an enabler, we'll see in the next few minutes. Okay, now we're talking about a generation which is very agile, a generation which is connected, a generation which is collaborative. Yes, we are talking about the millennial workforce. Now, how HR can integrate various solutions, how HR can, integrate the various technological platforms to give the best employee experience to the millennial workforce. Now, let's see. Okay. Okay, the first is we all would be knowing about is the self-service applications, the employee self-service applications and the managerial self-service applications. We all know these self-service applications are nothing but they are web-based technologies, with the help of which employees they can perform numerous HR processes on their own. For example, they can check their own, they can apply, they can check their leave status, they can manage their own benefits, view their attendance records, update their benefits, insurance, personal details, so on and so forth. Even the managers can use the manager self-service applications to manage the team details, to view their team's compensation structure, to map their competencies, to write their appraisals, to nominate them for training, so on and so forth. So the possibilities are endless in the way in which these self-service applications can be utilized. Now, another technological platform that most of the organizations have been using is the chatbots. Now, chatbots, the use has been increasing, and with the help of this, the HR managers, they have become more accessible to their employees now. It allows the HR teams to provide instant and accurate responses to the queries of the employees. And definitely, yes, the more complex queries can definitely be escalated for human response. But yes, it is quick in time solutions, which are routine solutions, can definitely be entertained, can definitely be taken care of by the chatbots today. Now, we also know how more and more companies are using mobile trainings and learning management systems, to train and develop their workforce, specifically in the area of sales training or say product trainings, onboarding experiences, recruitment. For all these, various processes of HR, technology is being used at an increasing scale. Now, another area where another platform where which is being used in the HR processes is the gamification. Now, with the help of game thinking and game mechanics, the it has become a very important part of the recruitment, problem solving, and onboarding. Now, let's see various examples of how organizations are using gamification to attract and to retain and to make the millennials interested in the various processes. The examples are numerous. I have taken few examples of leading organizations who are using gamifications in their HR processes. Now let's try to understand how they are doing it. Now, Vodafone. Now, Vodafone is a really good example of how it is using artificial intelligence in its recruitment process by incorporating the on-demand and the live video interviews which are supported by artificial intelligence, game-based assessments, the cognitive ability, and the pre-built video assessments, all of which is very fast, very engaging, and also scientifically validated. So this has changed the way recruitment was done in the earlier times, which was too paper intensive, too labor intensive, and how AI has actually changed the scenario. Now, another very good example, which is really applauded by industry is how in onboarding gamification can be used, and Deloitte has been doing it since past few years. Now, it began its journey to gamify the onboarding experience for the new analysts that are recruited in the company, and this kind of an onboarding experience is also perfectly suited for the modern learners, who crave flexibility in where and how they learn, and they seek out experiences that actively engage them. So the purpose of this game, which is titled as the chosen analyst for Deloitte, it is to provide training around basic consulting skills, which include onboarding training around PowerPoint, Excel, professionalism, and much more, that was previously developed via classroom interface. Now, with this newly gamified approach, the it enables the analyst to work at their own pace rather than forcing them into a one size fits all timeline. And this all, as I already said, onboarding experience has been really valued, really appreciated by the various organizations who've used it in their for their new recruits. Now, another very good example of how gamification is used is in the recruitment is the Airman challenge, which is developed by the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force. Sorry, U.S. Air Force. Now, it has created the Airman challenge game. The purpose is to teach the prospective recruits more about the U.S. Air Force and its available positions. The gamification of military recruitment is a well executed tool to convey information and attract generation Y. So all the links are there on the YouTube and various platforms. I would surely, request my viewers to please go through and see these videos, and you will understand how gamification has actually entered and become a part and parcel of the various HR processes. Now, going back to the last year, we all remember how Volvo, which turned a major car show in Brussels into a job fair actually, and managed to snag most of the media coverage because of its HR90 model. The car was named as HR90 with the recruiting car, it thought of. During the prestigious car show, Volvo revealed a car that could recruit its own technicians with the help of artificial intelligence, and it aptly named the car as HR90 instead of V90. In the weeks leading up to the show, Volvo had advertised on various social media platforms that they are going to hire 200 technicians, and their own car using the AI, artificial intelligence, will be recruiting the technicians for its plant in Brussels, and applicants were invited to the show. A classic example of recruitment marketing. So these are the few examples which I wanted to share with my viewers, some of the examples where gamification is being used, and how artificial intelligence and how technology is actually integrating and changing the way we used to look at HR earlier and how HR is now, and how the expectations of various stakeholders is also changing from the HR function at large in organizations. Now, moving on to the next implication, which I mentioned earlier. The first aspect we've discussed, how technology has changed things from recruitment to onboarding, separation, and how with the use of technology, using various self-service applications, chatbots, how using, LMS, mobile training, or gamification has changed the overall face of HR. And definitely the expectations are rising and will continue to rise. Now let's look at the second aspect. In next 10 minutes, we will be looking at the second implication that technology brings for us. This is how and what is going to be the HR's role in driving any sort of change or any technological digital transformations into the company systems smoothly. It is easier said than done. We all agree, technology requires a lot of investment, but getting that technology embedded in the organization systems is also a huge challenge which organizations face. And here we will understand, what role can HR leaders play so as to ensure that this digital transformation is driven into the organization processes and systems very smoothly. Now, this can be done. HR can become a digital transformation driver by combining what with how. Now, what is the digital capability? That is technology. By choosing which technology, which digital upgradation the organization needs, it requires for its success, and how it is going to be embedded in its system. That is the leadership capability. So, when the digital and the leadership capabilities will combine, the HR can definitely become a digital transformation driver for the success of the organizations. Now, how HR turns the leadership capabilities into ensuring that the organizations drive these technologies into their systems. It first and foremost requires the creation of a shared vision in the organization, very important, a transformative vision of the digital transformation that is going to take place in the organization. By by developing a shared vision in the organization, by ensuring, an environment, a culture of an organization where employees are engaged, they are motivated, all stakeholders willingly take up the new challenges, all the stakeholders agree and to the idea that is conceived by the organization at large regarding the digital transformation, developing very strong digital governance models, and ensuring, most importantly, that people, the employees, are trained, retrained to adopt technology. All these things need to be ensured for leadership capabilities to actually work hand in hand and ensure that digital capabilities are utilized to the maximum. Now, to create renewed and transformed organizations, we all would agree that HR has to wear many hats. It has to act as a facilitator for the change. It has to be, on the employee side, understand their perspective, be an employee champion in the longer run, design the whole systems, align it with business strategy. Most importantly, walk the talk and be a demonstrator. This is the most important and crucial step to build an organization's capacity to embrace and capitalize on the change in the longer run. So, wearing these hats and performing excellently in all these roles, HR can surely become a digital transformation driver for any organization. Now, I will take an example. There are various things that as HR leaders we need to do to ensure, that organizations embed the digital systems and digital capabilities in it smoothly, and they succeed in today's turbulent times. I'll just take an example, take you through a few pictures in the next few slides, and take an example, how a ship sails in the turbulent waters, and what all with what all things, it can ensure it reaching safely on the shore. The same we will, with the same example, we'll discuss what is expected from the HR leaders today to drive the change or digital transformation in the organization. So moving ahead, Leading the transformation, develop and inspire confidence in the face of uncertainty. Definitely. Now, here I take the example, like I said, of a ship, which sails effectively and reaches the shore. Similarly, to drive the HR transformation, whatever be the change, whatever be the digital transformation, it has to be embedded in the organization structure. The HR leaders should act as a key agent of this change, should lead this change, should address the uncertainties that people have in the wake of this change, and should definitely try to win employee confidence. This is the first and the foremost step for the HR leaders in this journey of change. Second, transform the core. Now, this means that address all the issues from all these stakeholders at all points of time to bring change in all levels and in all processes. That is, we need to transform the organization from its core, integrate the software, platforms, and technology, choosing environments and products that are harmony with one another. Now, this is a very essential requirement for any change to happen. We need to have and develop harmonious systems. We need to address and queries of the stakeholders and take all together in this entire journey. Vision. Definitely having a unified vision, having one vision will definitely unify the efforts of everybody involved in one direction, and will definitely ensure that the change, the digital transformation is adopted very smoothly in any organization. And it vision is one which ensures successful outcomes for the entire organization. So creating and developing a shared vision for an organization is a very crucial step. Leadership at all levels, you all would agree with me that enhanced participation from all the business leaders across all processes and at all levels is needed to reach to our destination. Without that, the reaching the destination safely and surely would be really a difficult task. Trust, very, very important. Trust of all the stakeholders is required in the process to adopt the digital transformation in an organization. Their belief, their commitment, their togetherness is needed to achieve to the shore, to actually reach the shore safely. Everybody should be involved, should participate in the process, and definitely should commit to the cause for any successful transformation to take place in an organization. Another very important area which cannot be missed is the importance of developing the human resource for any organization. The requirement for training, the requirement for retraining to upgrade the skill sets of the human resource of an organization, equip them strongly and effectively with the much necessitated competencies is the need for R. Now, this will also help to develop the confidence the employees have in any organization. This will definitely ensure that they are committed to the process of digital transformation or any kind of change in an organization. So it is worth the investment for any organization to, develop the skills and reskill for the human resource of their organization. So with these steps, any HR leader can surely ensure a safe journey, surely ensure that digital transformation is embedded into their systems for successful outcomes, just like the ship has successfully reached the shore in our example. I'm sure you all enjoyed this example. And to sum up, I would say, for successful digital transformation to take place, the HR leaders need to strengthen the organization's HR capability at all levels by creating an awareness of the desired change, by getting people's participation, understanding, commitment of every stakeholder, and at the end, internalization of the new behavior in the organization systems. Now, this is possible by overcoming resistance. This is possible by constant communication, by training. These are the key areas where HR leaders need to focus and increase commitment towards successful outcomes and embrace and manage any kind of transformation in the organizational processes. I hope all the viewers have found the session useful and have got some insights, into the technological shifts that are taking place in the human resource these days in the organization, and how, the role of the whole function of HR has been redefined, rewritten because of the technology that is changing at the speed of a light, I would say, these days. And the session would have also given certain key insights, what key areas we need to focus, because as I mentioned earlier, we need to focus on not what can be automated, we need to focus on what cannot be automated, because that is what is going to become extremely valuable in the times to come. Thank you very much. Over to you, Charvi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, how do you think that the HR department can encourage the employee engagement or motivate the employees to work? Like right now, when they are working remotely. So,
Why do I think HR can do that?
how do you think? How do
Acha,
you think that the HR
how
department
do
can?
HR can do that? See, like I said, when the focus of the organization is on human resource, is on developing their employees, when an organization cares about an employee, definitely the employee feels motivated in such an environment. We are all human beings. We value respect, we value love, we value care. So these are the things, these are the attributes which employees today look forward, from organizations also. So as leaders of people, they are the ones, the HR leaders have to strategize and think, how people can be made to feel valued, how their motivation and morale can improve. We all know, how when we are motivated, how we work with a positive energy. And on the other hand, sometimes the days are bad and we don't feel like working, and the outcome of those 24 hours is null and void. Similarly, an organization invests so much in people, so it is surely the responsibility of the HR to see that people are engaged, interested, motivated at all points of time. That is surely going to work in organizations benefit only.
Thank you, ma'am. And do you think the agility of the employees is affected, like when they are working remotely or when they work in the office or they go to the workplace? So, is there been a change in the agility?
Definitely, like I said, today's millennial workforce is agile, it is collaborative. The way they behave, the way they think, their whole system is very different than the previous generation. When we are dealing with generation Y, that's why I said, technology plays a key role. They are the people who are very tech savvy, they are the people who are tech addicted, they are the people who are agile, but at the same time, gaining and retaining their interest in any kind of technology for a longer period of time is also very challenging. We all see, most of my viewers who are mothers, who are parents, they would be seeing how, their kids keep on shuffling on technological platform, and at the same time they also feel very disinterested with this kind of technology in times.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Your session was very thought-provoking.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. For advertisements or sponsorships, you can mail us at joinprayaana.com. And tomorrow's session will be eye care during online classes and virtual meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.